water tank. So let us just recapitulate the things we have covered. So okay, so water tanks are the water retaining structures used to store water, and the purpose of storing the water is to overcome the daily requirements. To overcome daily requirements. Daily requirements such as drinking, cleaning purpose, and washing purpose, etc. Household purpose. So all these for all these requirements, we need water to be stored, and the structures used to store the water, they are called water retaining structures, and water tank is a type of water retaining structure. Then we have seen the types of the water tank which we are going to discuss. That is tanks resting on the ground, underground tanks, and elevated tanks. Okay. Then we have seen the IS code to be referred for design of water retaining structure is IS 3370 part 1, 2, and part 1 to 4. Okay. So and the tanks which are used for small capacity or large capacity of storage. So they can be used for small storage capacity as well as large storage capacity. The large storage capacity are usually known as storage reservoir, and depending on the placement, we can have the ground storage reservoir, underground storage reservoir, or elevated storage reservoir. So, so today let us see the classification of water tank. Broadly, we can classify the water tanks based on two aspects. One is based on the placement of the tank, and another is based on the shape of the tank. So, based on the placement of the tank, we can have tanks resting on ground, which are usually called GSR. Here we are talking about the large storage tanks, so they are called ground storage reservoir. It can be underground, which is called USR, underground storage reservoir, and it can be elevated. Supported on staging, or it can be a shaft. These are called ESR. Okay. See, the staging is the portion uh, used to support the container. Okay. Now this staging can be a frame structure, or it can be a circular shaft type, means RCC wall, round RCC wall, circular RCC wall all throughout. So if it is a circular wall throughout the height, it is called shaft type staging. Okay. And if it is a frame type frame, it is a frame. If it is a beam column frame, then it is called frame type staging. Okay. So you can remove this part. So staging can be of two type: frame type, or it can be a shaft type. Okay. and this type of tank is called elevated storage reservoir. Then we can have based on shape of container, or we can say tank. So based on the shape, it can be a circular tank, it can be a rectangular, it can be spherical, though the spherical tanks are not popular in concrete structures, but they are for steel tanks, they are we can find spherical tanks. Then inch tank, which are commonly used for elevated storage reservoir. Then we can have circular tanks with conical bottom. So this is the classification of the water tank. See, circular tank with conical bottoms are like this. We have a cylindrical shaft and we have a conical bottom, and this part is supported by staging. Okay, and here it is a straight. And inch type tank, this is circular. This is, let us say, this is number 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4, and this is 5. So let us say this is 5. Inch tank is like this. You have a circular shaft, means a circular walls, then a conical bottom, then you have a bottom dome, and at the top there is a top dome, and this is supported on the staging. Okay, this is number 4. Then spherical dome, they are not used, but they are more popular in steel tanks. So we have then staging like this. Sometimes this actually it is somewhat here. Okay, this is third type, and rectangular, you all know, it can be a rectangular in plan, or it can be a circular. Okay, and it can be on the ground, underground, or it can be elevated. And circular, it is circular in plan. Okay, this is first, this is second, third, fourth. And underground tanks, these are already drawn here. This thing. Okay, so we can have tanks resting on ground, we can have underground tanks, we can have elevated tanks. Let us say this is 1, 2, 3. This is 1. ऑफिस में है, ऑफिस में છે પેલા સિક્યુરિટી આપીને ગયા. આપણે જો પડી જાય આપણે એડમિન પડી જાય, એડમિન માં Okay, so this is the classification of the water tanks. Then we have also seen the various codes to be referred for the design of water tanks. So reference code, the first one was IS 3370 part 1 2009. So that gives you general guidelines or general requirements about the design of liquid retaining structure. For design and construction of liquid retaining structures. Okay, part 2 IS 3370 part 2 2000 again 9 version. Now this 9 version gives the limit state philosophy. The limit state philosophy is added in 2009 revision. The earlier code was based on working stress philosophy, but here the limit state philosophy is also given, and working stress philosophy is the part of the annexure. So this is for the reinforced concrete structures, means reinforced concrete liquid retaining structures. Okay. The part 3 IS 3370 part 3 it is the older version only. The new version is not there. That is for the pre-stress concrete structure. And the part 4 IS 3370 again, this is the older version. It gives the design tables, but these tables are based on the old code. Okay, because the new revision is not is published. Okay, so then we have seen the codal provisions. So in codal provisions, we followed we use these IS 3370 part 1, and we have gone through the special considerations required for making reinforced concrete liquid retaining structures. नहीं है. So the special consideration, if you remember, the first consideration was the concrete should be impervious, durable, and maintenance free. The concrete that is to be used, concrete to be used should be impervious, means it should not allow passage of water, it should be durable and maintenance free. So for this the code restricts the grade of the concrete. So we have minimum grade of the concrete. So the code gives the guidelines for the minimum grade of the concrete to be used for liquid retaining structures. Then it also gives the maximum free water to cement ratio, and it gives the maximum cement content and maximum cement content. If you remember, these things are given in table 1. Table 1 on page number 2. On page number 2, we have seen in the previous lecture, IS 3370 part 1, 2009. Okay, so you can have the impervious, durable and maintenance free concrete if you follow the guidelines of guidelines given in table 1, page 2, IS 3370 part 1. Then second requirement is the cracking of the concrete should be limited. Cracking of concrete should be limited to prevent leakage. As these are liquid retaining structures and we have to prevent the leakages, so we have to restrict the cracks. So for that the code has given guidelines. Now first we see the cracking. The cracking can be caused by two ways. Cracks due to temperature and shrinkage. Okay, and these cracks can be avoided by providing minimum steel. By providing minimum reinforcements, you can prevent the cracking due to temperature and shrinkage. So minimum steel requirement will take care of the cracking due to temperature and shrinkage. And these cracks, they are uniform. Throughout the depth of concrete. Okay, the cracks due to temperature and shrinkage, they are uniform throughout the depth of the section. Means if we have a concrete section here, so the cracks, they are penetrating throughout the depth of the structure. Okay, because the shrinkage of the concrete will be uniform throughout the depth of the section. Then we can have cracks due to applied loads. means due to the applied load, the cracks may develop on the concrete. So we have to restrict these cracks, and these cracks are wider. These cracks are wider at the surface. Okay. So again, if we draw a section, suppose we take a case of flexural cracks, and so let us say if this is the tension phase and this is the compression phase, so these cracks are like this. Okay, so they are wider at the top, and their width gets reduced as they go deeper. Okay, so example is flexural cracks. And to prevent this, the code has given the exposure conditions to be used. Exposure condition, exposure conditions to be used. Okay, so the code has given severe exposure conditions to be used, at least severe exposure condition. Second thing, the code restricts the crack width uh, crack width up to 0.2 mm. So you have to find you have to ensure that the crack width are up to 0.2 mm only. And third thing is limiting the tensile stresses in concrete within permissible value. Okay, so by ensuring these three, you can control the cracks due to applied load. Means you ensure that the exposure condition is severe or above. You ensure that the crack width is limited to 0.2 mm only. You can write limiting crack width up to. Then limiting the tensile stresses in concrete within permissible value. Okay, so the exposure condition, we have seen that it is given in the clause. It was given in the clause number 4 on page 1. Clause 4, page 1, IS 3370, part 1, 2009. Okay. Then let us see now various then let us see now various types of the joints. See, this is given in the clause 10 page 4. You can refer the clauses given in on page number 10, clause number 10. So we can have movement joints, okay, and these movement joints can be uh, contraction, joints, it can be expansion joint, or it can be sliding joints. So so in movement joints, the movement of the concrete, or the concrete of the movement of the structure is allowed. So it can be a contraction type, it can be expansion type joint, or it can be sliding type joints. Then we can have construction joints. Then we can have temporary open joints. Okay. Now we'll see one by one each of them, and for more details you can refer the clause number 10 of IS 3370. So the first is the movement joint. The first is contraction. So this is the type of contraction joint. Okay, and again it has two types. It can be a complete contraction joint, or it can be a partial contraction joint. Okay, in complete contraction joint you can see that there is a discontinuity in the concrete. Okay, this is your concrete surface, concrete. So there is a discontinuity in the concrete, and as well as discontinuity in the steel. So here in this case we have discontinuity in concrete and steel. Okay, no initial gap is provided. You can see that though there is a discontinuity in the concrete, but there is no gap between the two concrete surfaces. Okay, and at the location of discontinuity, we have a water bar. Okay, we have water bar which is used as a water stopper, and okay, so these water bars are provided here at discontinuity. Okay, so you can see that discontinuity in the steel as well as discontinuity in the concrete, and there is no gap. Okay, whereas in case of partial joints, there is a discontinuity in the concrete, but there is a continuity in the steel. Means the steel go throughout. Though there is a discontinuity in the concrete, the steel grows throughout, and at the top, the sealing compound is filled with a stripping paint on top. So, this is the type of the partial contraction joint. So in this case, we have discontinuity in concrete, but continuity in steel. But okay, no initial gap is provided. So in contraction joint, no initial gap is provided. Okay, and the at the top, the sealing compounds are filled and stripping paint is done. Painting is done. Okay, so this is about the contraction joint. The second type is expansion joint. See, these type of joints, the contraction joint, uh, they do not allow expansion. They only allow contraction. Okay, that is why they are called contraction joints. Whereas expansion joints, the initial gap is provided. Means we have a gap between the two surface of the concrete, and which is filled with the uh, jointing compounds. Initial gap is there. So because the initial gap is provided, it will take care of expansion as well as contraction. Expansion as well as contraction. Okay, whereas this will take care of only contraction. Okay, so now let us see the figure of this. See the first figure, This is the expansion type joint. You can see that there is a gap between the two faces. This is initial gap of about 30 mm gap is provided. Okay, it may vary, it may be 50 mm or depending upon the design. So usually 30 mm gap is provided, and it is filled with the pillar material, joint pillar material. And here there is a discontinuity in both concrete as well as steel. See the concrete, this is the concrete face, okay, and it is discontinuous, and the steel is also discontinuous, and initial gap is provided, usually 30 mm, and water bar is provided as a water stopper. So here this continuity in concrete and steel is provided. Okay, second thing, initial gap is provided, initial gap is provided, which is usually 30 mm. Okay, and which will take care of both expansion as well as contraction. Okay, then the water bars are used. Water bars are used. So these are the water bars used as a for uh, uh, they are used to prevent the water to pass. Okay, then the initial gap is filled with initial gap is filled with joint fillers. Okay, this type of joint you might have seen in our college building also. So some this jointing material is inserted here, joint pillar, and then some sealant compound is added to prevent this jointing pillar uh, 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 to uh, to get detached. Okay, so to prevent this joint pillar getting detached, some jointing compound is provided here. Okay, and the third type is the sliding type joint. Okay. Now in this joint, there is a discontinuity in the concrete as well as steel. You can see that the this this is the this is usually provided in the tanks, rectangular tanks. See, you can see that rectangular, or it can be circular also. This is the bottom raft, or we can say bottom slab. Okay, and this is the wall. Okay, and uh, there is no continuity between the concrete as well as the reinforcement. So here we have discontinuity in the concrete. Okay, then the this surface between the interface between the two surface is prepared. Okay, which may be either and may be provided with rubber pads. So the interface between two concrete faces, between two concrete surfaces, is prepared, or we can provide a rubber pad here. Okay, So this will allow the sliding of this wall. So this wall can now slide. Okay, but to prevent the leakage of water, this stripping paint is done and the sealing compound is filled here. So here in this joint, the sealing joint is filled, joint sealing compound is filled, and a stripping paint is done. Okay, so this allows the movement of the uh, sliding movement. This allows sliding movement. Okay, so here we can write which allows sliding movement. Okay, then the joint sealing compound is filled. Joint sealing compound is filled in the gap, in this gap. So and stripping painting is done. Strip painting is done. Okay, so this is about the sliding joint. Okay, so these are the three types of the contraction joint, these movement joints. Okay, next is the construction joint. So okay, as you can see, these type of construction joints are also called cold joint. Okay, when the concreting is done and we cannot have the continuity in the concrete, then we can have a cold joint here. So we roughen the surface by providing some indentations here, and then the next concreting is done. Okay, so this is in the vertical joints, usually in the wall. Okay, this is usually construction joint in wall elements, and this is in slab elements or bottom slab or top slab. Okay, so this is the old, and this is the new. Old concrete means suppose by evening you have stopped the concrete, then next morning when you are doing the concrete, so there is a cold joint here. So this is also called cold joint. Okay, this is also called cold joint. So some indentations are done. See, some zigzag form of indentations are done so that the new concrete gets inside the indentations. Okay, so this is also called cold joint, and usually it is the joint between two concrete faces, between two cold joint, and uh, it is the joint between two concrete surfaces casted at different time. So when we cast the concrete surfaces at different time, so there is a cold joint formed here, and this to prevent the failure from this, a joint this type of surface is prepared. Okay, so some joint surface is prepared. Joint surface is prepared with indentations. With indentations. Okay, so it can be a vertical construction joint, it can be horizontal construction joint, it can be vertical construction joint, usually in the wall, or it can be a horizontal construction joint, usually in the slabs or rafts. Okay, and last, the third type is the temporary open joints. The temporary open joints. Okay, we have covered this, and the third one is temporary open joints. So in temporary open joints, this is the concrete 1 and this is concrete 2. Okay, so this initial gap is filled with the new concrete. Okay, same way this is one type of temporary open joints, and in another type of joint, this is the newly filled concrete between the two surfaces. This is surface 1 and this is surface 2, and in between the concrete is filled. Here at the junction of the new concrete and the old concrete, some jointing sealant is applied, and then stripping paint is done. Okay, so here this jointing compound is filled, groove is made, and inside that the sealing compound is filled, and then on the top stripping painting is done. So this is the difference between the this type 1 and this is type 2, and this is type 2. Clear? So this is different types of the joints to be used in water tanks. It can be a movement joint, construction joint, or it can be a temporary joint. The movement joints, again, it can be classified as contraction joint, expansion joint, or sliding joints. So if you talk about contraction joint, we can have complete contraction joint, or it can be partial contraction joint. In complete contraction joint, there is a discontinuity between the concrete and steel, both concrete and steel. Then water bars are provided at the discontinuity, and there is no initial gap. Okay, as well as and in partial contraction joint, there is a discontinuity in the concrete, but there is a continuity in the steel, and the initial the at the top, this the groove is filled with the sealing compound, and on the top the stripping paint is done. Okay, here there is no this joint filling compound, sealing compound is filled. Then in expansion type joints, it allows both expansion as well as contraction. So initial gap of around 30 mm is provided. Water bar is provided at the discontinuity, and there is a discontinuity in the concrete as well as steel. In sliding joint, again we have a discontinuity in the concrete as well as the steel, and this vertical element can undergo sliding on the surface which is prepared, or either placed on the rubber pads. Then the gap is filled with the joint sealing compound, which is then strip painted. Then construction joint, it can be done in walls, call it as vertical joints, and it can be done on slabs or rafts in horizontal slabs. So to prevent the failure at the cold joint, some indentations are done by preparing the joint surface. So this is the type of the construction joint. Then temporary open joints, the two surface, the gap, initial gap between the two concrete surface is large, and it is filled with the concrete. Okay, here, and sometimes the at the junction of the old and new concrete, the groove is filled with the sealing compound, joint sealing compound, and strip painted. Okay, so this is about the various types of the joints. So we stop here. In the next class, we will see the design basis of working stress philosophy. So, okay, and if you have any doubt, then we can discuss now. Any doubt in today's lecture? Okay, so let's end the meeting here. If you don't have any further any doubts.